Feeling proud of your achievements is quite natural. There is nothing wrong in it. But pride that leads to self-obsession and arrogance, that's not okay. Because in such a state of mind, you never recognize your flaws. You're in a superficial state of mind where you feel that you are the best. That's not healthy. भाई इंसान चाहे कितना भी बड़ा हो जाए घमंड ना करे, क्योंकि घमंडी का सर हमेशा नीचा होता है. Namaste and welcome to Hindi with BINDU UDAYAN, where you will be getting English translation to most of your Hindi lessons. So here is Ek Tinka from class 7th, written by Ayodhya Singh Upadhyay.
Here is the 13th lesson from class 7th. Ek Tinka, a small poem with a big message, written by Ayodhya Singh Upadhyay, popularly known as Hari Audh. Ayodhya Singh Upadhyay, a prominent writer of Hindi literature, was born on 15th April 1865 in Uttar Pradesh. He has been the chairman of Hindi Sahitya Sammelan twice and has been conferred the title of Vidya Vachaspati. Some of his literary works are प्रिय प्रवास, एक बूंद, हिंदी भाषा और उसके साहित्य का विकास, करमवीर and Vaidehi Vanvas. He died on 16th March 1947. There is a famous proverb that says, pride comes before a fall. Obviously, we are not talking about the kind of pride a mother feels for her child or the pride you feel for your country. No. We are discussing the kind of pride that keeps people blinded, stuck, and isolated. We are talking about the destructive kind of pride or arrogance. Arrogance is full of yourself, feeling you are always right, believing that your accomplishments and abilities make you better than others. And in such a state of mind, you fail to realize that your success is often temporary. Here comes a small poem, Ek Tinka, with a message that arrogance is nothing but ignorance. Ek Tinka. Tinka is a small particle, usually a piece of dry grass. In this poem written in a narrative style, the poet describes an incident that taught him the lesson of humility. Ek Tinka. मैं घमंडों में भरा ऐंठा हुआ, एक दिन जब था मुंडेरे पर खड़ा, अचानक दूर से उड़ता हुआ, एक तिनका आंख में मेरी पड़ा. घमंडों में means full of pride and ego, ऐंठा हुआ, full of attitude and arrogance. Mundera is the boundary of terrace or boundary of balcony. So the poet says that one day he was standing in his balcony, filled with pride, full of arrogance. Maybe he was proud because of his position or possession, wealth, or good looks. A man can be proud of anything. So, holding himself in a very high regard and self-obsessed, he was standing in his balcony. अचानक दूर से उड़ता हुआ, एक तिनका आंख में मेरी पड़ा. And then suddenly, दूर से उड़ता हुआ एक तिनका आंख में मेरी पड़ा, which means a tinka or a small particle came flying and got into his eyes. Here, the poet describes the incident where he was standing in his balcony full of arrogance. Just then, a small particle came flying and got into his eyes. मैं झिझक उठा, हुआ बेचैन सा, लाल होकर आंख भी दुखने लगी, मूंठ देने लोग कपड़े की लगे, ऐंठ बेचारी दबे पांव भगी. मैं झिझक उठा. झिझक उठना is a sudden reaction when something gets into your eyes. It's getting shocked or taken aback. The poet says, मैं झिझक उठा, I was shocked. हुआ बेचैन सा, and he became restless. Bechan is becoming nervous or restless. लाल होकर आंख भी दुखने लगी. My eyes became red and it started paining. मूठ देने लोग कपड़े की लगे. People gathered around. They started giving first aid. मूठ देना is giving first aid using cloth, where we gather a cloth, make it into a small bundle, blow it, and keep warmth on the injured eye. This relieves us of the pain. मूठ देने लोग कपड़े की लगे. People started giving first aid using cloth. ऐंठ बेचारी दबे पांव भगी. And all my attitude, all my arrogance was gone. Dabe pao bhagi. It's an idiom which means go away silently. So, ain't bechari dabe pao bhagi, which means all my arrogance and attitude was gone now in no time. जब किसी ढब से निकल तिनका गया, तब समझने यूं मुझे ताने दिए. ऐंठता तू किस लिए इतना रहा, ऐंठता तू किस लिए इतना रहा, एक तिनका है बहुत तेरे लिए. जब किसी ढब से is in some way or the other. जब किसी ढब से निकल तिनका गया, when the particle was removed from his eyes, finally in some way or the other, and he was relieved. तब समझने यो मुझे ताने दिए. Then his samajh, his intellect, taunted him. ताने दिए is to taunt. Our intellect, our conscience often guides us. You might have felt this, that whenever we are wrong, somewhere deep inside us, a voice echoes. It's our inner voice that warns us. So that is our intellect, samajh. Here, the poet's intellect taunted him or criticized him for being arrogant. It said, "Ain't tu kis liye itna raha?" What made you so arrogant? Why were you so proud? एक तिनका है बहुत तेरे लिए. Look at you. A small tinka, a tiny particle, is more than enough for you. A tiny particle is capable enough to break you down. And then the poet realized that how foolish he was to be so proud, to be so arrogant, to feel superior. He realized that his arrogance was nothing but his ignorance. So, in this poem, the poet gives us the message to get rid of arrogance from your heart. इस कविता के माध्यम से कवि हमें भी घमंड से दूर रहने का संदेश दे रहे हैं. इंसान चाहे कितना भी बड़ा क्यों ना हो, उसका घमंड चकनाचूर हो ही जाता है. Don't be proud of your wealth, your power, or your good looks, because all this can be taken away in seconds. उसका घमंड तोड़ने के लिए एक नन्हा सा तिनका ही काफी है. Even a small particle is enough to teach us a big lesson. हमें कभी भी घमंड नहीं करना चाहिए. So we should never be arrogant. A man's pride will bring him low. You can be confident, but not arrogant. Develop a sense of humility. Here is a beautiful quote. There is a thin line between confidence and arrogance. It's called humility. Confidence smiles, arrogance smirks. God hates pride, so let's stay away from arrogance. Let's revise now. घमंडी कहाँ खड़ा था? Where was the arrogant person or the poet standing? घमंडी की आंख में क्या पड़ा? What got into his eyes? आंख में तिनका पड़ने पर घमंडी की क्या दशा हुई? What was his condition or his sudden reaction when the particle got into his eyes? लोग घमंडी को क्या देने लगे? What first aid did the people give him? घमंडी को किसने ताने दिए? Who taunted the arrogant person? Who taunted the poet for being arrogant? So that was Ek Tinka with a beautiful message that arrogance and pride will make you fall. Be humble and remain humble at all times. Hope you have understood the explanation. Thank you for watching. See you again in the next video with a new lesson. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.